You're in a meeting, or maybe it's dinner with a family member, and somehow the conversation is turned into a one-way performance. You offered a good idea, but it got ignored, then repeated back to you 10 minutes later like it was theirs. You raised a concern. Suddenly, you're the difficult one. 3 weeks later, you're still not sure what actually happened. And the strangest part, you're the one who ended up apologizing. You're not losing your mind. You're dealing with a pattern here. Today, we're breaking down what narcissism looks like in real life, not the clinical definition, the version you probably already bump into, what a study of 436 people living with it discovered, and the 3 practical strategies to protect your time, your energy, and your sanity. Let's start with what we're talking about. Narcissistic personality disorder is a recognized psychological condition characterized by grandiosity, an intense need for admiration, and a real lack of empathy for others. But most people you'll run into who have narcissistic traits don't have a formal diagnosis. They just operate in ways that leave everyone around them confused, second-guessing themselves, and more than likely, quietly exhausted. There's 2 types of narcissists that are worth being able to recognize. The grandiose type is the one most people picture. They dominate every room, take credit freely, talk over everyone, and genuinely believe the rules don't apply to them. They're hard to miss. The vulnerable type is a little trickier. They play the victim. They're hypersensitive to criticism and wield guilt like a tool. They can seem fragile on the outside, but the impact on other people around them is just as draining. Both types will cost you time and mental energy if you don't know what you're dealing with, and making you think you're losing your mind, which you're not. Now, what does the research say? A 2020 study published in Borderline Personality Disorder and Emotional Dysregulation titled Living with Pathological Narcissism, a Quantitative Study, surveyed 436 people in close relationships with someone high on narcissistic traits, including current and former partners and family members. Researchers found 2 things consistently showing up together: the grandiose behavior and the arrogance, the entitlement, the charm that switches off without warning, and the vulnerable behavior, rage, hypersensitivity, and wild mood swings. The research showed 69% of respondents described experience both in the same person. And the phrase that came up again and again to describe daily life with this person: walking on eggshells. Not because of anything they did, just because they never know which version of the person was going to walk through the door. That unpredictability isn't accidental. It's how the pattern keeps people off balance. Here's 3 practical strategies to deal with a narcissist when you encounter one. First, name the pattern, not the person. You're not diagnosing anyone here. You're noticing recurring behavior. Does this person consistently redirect every conversation back to themselves? Does mild feedback blow up into something much bigger? Do you regularly end up apologizing for things you didn't do? Once you see the pattern clearly and you see it repeat, you stop being surprised by it. And that alone changes how you feel and how you respond. Second, set limits with low drama. Narcissists run on emotional reaction. The most productive move is short, flat, unemotional limits. Use phrases like, "This doesn't work for me. I can't take that on right now." No lengthy explanation, no negotiating. The moment you start justifying yourself, you've walked into a debate you didn't agree to enter. Keep it brief and keep it boring. Third, keep a record. After a difficult interaction, take 30 seconds and jot down what happened. A few lines on your phone, nothing elaborate. Not for confrontation, just for you. Because one of the most disorienting things about this pattern is how often the conversation gets rewritten afterward. You remember it one way, they remember it another, and somehow you're always the confused one. Your own notes become your anchor, quiet, simple, and more stabilizing than you would expect. Don't ever kid yourself. You can't change a narcissist. What you can do is stop letting the pattern drain your energy and knock you off course. Start this week if you think you have a narcissist in your orbit, and pick one interaction, one recurring moment, and just name the pattern to yourself. No action required. When you just see it, you're going to find yourself a saner, happier person and know that you're not losing your mind. Your move.